Jay Gabler, Duluth News Tribune arts and entertainment reporter, back with another special episode of the DNT Minute featuring my column, Front Row Seat. This week, take a look at AfroGeode and the Gemstones' essential new album. The news of Deanna Johnson's sudden death last year stunned Twin Ports music fans who knew the singer-songwriter, also an activist and therapist, as one of the fastest rising stars in the local scene. As of this week, listeners can now hear Johnson's final finished musical release, an album she had just completed recording as AfroGeode along with her band, the Gemstones. They're her love letter to the world, said Gemstones keyboardist and vocalist Courtney Elion about the album's 6 songs. They're also, Elion continued, our love letter to her. The Gemstones, who have remained together as a band and begun accumulating a new body of work, performed at Bent Paddle Brewing on Friday to mark the album's release. It was a pretty magical night, Elion told me by phone on Monday. It just kind of felt like this beautiful coming together of past, present, and future. By the time the Gemstones assembled as a band to accompany Johnson at Duluth Superior Pride in 2021, she and Elion had already been collaborating. They performed together at Sacred Heart Music Center and on the pier at Glen Sheen. Dee, she has an absolutely amazing musical ear, said Elion, and she was untrained in music. And for me, as a piano player, even though I had classical training, I also learned how to play by ear. We developed our own language to be able to help bring the songs to life in a way where she could hear what was in her head. The album opens with We Don't Need, a spoken word piece commenting on the struggles that Black, queer, polyamorous women face living and surviving in a male, mononormative dominated society. Johnson's husband, Steve Carrolls, explained to me in an email. The song's musical arrangement is driven by saxophonist Marlena Bodenheimer, who performs as Pink Marlena and is a former Gemstones member. She's absolutely brilliant, said Elion. She came up with this instrumental at the beginning that had that key change from E to E flat in the middle, and that helped transition to the spoken word section. The next song, Just Be, was originally released by Johnson over a backing track created by Jeremy J.G. Gardner. Johnson and the Gemstones reworked the song to perform together. It's a story of 2 queer femme lovers being out together in the public realm and being unapologetic about taking space, said Carrolls. It's dedicated to Melissa Thorson, a friend who Johnson dated. The song is really about a place of freedom and joy that we both worked hard to create, Thorson told me. But it's also a space that's elusive and intangible to some people who would otherwise believe they should be able to take part of it. Comments blocked, as Johnson sings, chauvinism clocked. We were faced with the regular phobias and isms, remembered Thorson. But there was also this different challenge, and that would be heterosexual men who believed that the vibe we were on was somehow for them or somehow about them. Maybe, a song that bassist Emmanuel Islay brought to the group, is the only number on the album that the Gemstones continue to perform live, having retired the others from live performance since it wouldn't feel right to do the songs without Dee, Elion explained. Johnson wrote the first verse of lyrics for the album version of Maybe, with Elion writing and singing the second verse. With Johnson singing, this song continues the theme of the lived experience of a queer Black woman, wrote Carrolls, the pain and suffering that is carried in society. The optimism of the song is that maybe they don't want to give up, that the struggle is real and an empowering fight to take on. Islay provided the music and suggested a general theme of resilience, said Elion, and has written a new opening verse for use when the Gemstones now perform the song without Johnson. The original version remains on record, representing AfroGeode and the Gemstones' approach to a situation where the world is practically on fire, said Elion, but individuals can still choose to keep going, no matter what. Can We Find Our Way Back is a sweet, poignant song about the gradual fade of new relationship energy into something that isn't always as brilliant and intense, wrote Carrolls. The song also touches on the heavy nature of the world that burns so many people out and further stresses relationships. It was specifically inspired by the couple's own relationship, with lyrics that reference a highest star the couple saw together at Harmony Park in southern Minnesota. When Deanna debuted a couple of years ago, I realized that it was about me, and I stood in the crowd crying tears of joy, Carrolls remembered. She was so happy to share it, and I vividly remember how giddy she was after the set. Did you hear that song, babe? With a sly look on her face and a wink. Portrait began as a song Elion wrote about a past abusive friendship, completed in collaboration with Johnson. It includes a moment when the two harmonize together as the song's instrumentation drops down. That's probably one of the most special memories that I have, said Elian, is her and I looking at each other and smiling when we were on that pier at Glen Sheen, singing it together. It just felt like a solidifying of everything that we were starting to build together. If you can't guess what the title letters of MYOB stand for, Johnson makes it clear with lyrics like, "There are no secrets, there is no shame, your tired business and ours is not the same." That song was also inspired by Carol's relationship with Johnson, he said. It's kind of an anthem that's saying, sure, you can act all concerned, but our relationship dynamic is intentional and mindful love. We are secure, despite your outward judgment. Elian said it took a long time to figure out what chords to play under Johnson's melody on that song. When people gush about the one they love, they can go on and on and on. And so I wanted to give it a chord progression that made it sound like it could go on and on and on. Reflecting on the present moment, Elian said, "I love and I miss Deanna every day." She explained that the Gemstones, who also include drummer Ian Hopp and guitarist Josh Nicola, are moving forward with intentionality. A lot of us have heard, "This is amazing that you're continuing to perform for her, and it's amazing that you're continuing to honor her legacy," said Elian. And I always gently say, yes, and we are also doing it for us. We're doing it because we love each other, and we're doing it because we sound amazing. We're doing it because we are a band that's worth hearing. The band members worked closely with Carols to complete the process of releasing AfroGeode and the Gemstones, which is now available on Bandcamp in digital and physical forms with a cover portrait by Duluth artist Cherry Coke. It's also available on streaming platforms such as Spotify and Apple Music. It was a very full circle moment, Elian said about the album's release. Beautifully overwhelming. That's this week's column. I'll be back next week with a column about the newest addition to Duluth's annual All Souls event. Now, you may recognize the giant dancing skeleton from that post-Halloween event. That skeleton is about to get a very bright friend. I got to see it along with photographer Clint Austin, but save that story for next week. In the meantime, happy 4th of July weekend. I'm Jay Gabler, Duluth News Tribune.